You already see it. You see how people manipulate. You see who lies, who postures, who pretends. You walk into a room and within seconds you have deconstructed the hierarchy. You know who is weak. You know who is desperate for approval. You see the invisible strings attached to every compliment, every favor, every smile. You see the pattern beneath the words, the micro-expressions, the hesitation before the lie. You are not unaware. You are not naive. In fact, you pride yourself on this. You tell yourself that you are awake while others are sleepwalking. You believe that your ability to decode the human animal is your superpower. But look closer, and still, nothing changes. You hesitate. You delay. You stay exactly where you are. The manipulator continues to manipulate. The liar continues to profit. The loud, incompetent fool continues to get promoted over you. And you? You sit in the shadows, analyzing their technique, criticizing their form, smirking at their crudeness. That is not ignorance. That is the trap. You have confused being a spectator with being a player. You have confused the map with the terrain. You are standing on the edge of the void, watching the storm, believing that seeing the lightning makes you the thunder. It doesn't. Awareness feels like movement. It feels intelligent. It feels safe. Let's dissect why you do this, why you choose to study the blade instead of picking it up. Your mind lights up when something clicks, when a pattern reveals itself, when the illusion breaks and you see the ugly truth underneath. You think you understand, and in that moment, your brain floods your system with dopamine. It rewards you for that insight as if you had already conquered the problem. You get the chemical high of victory without fighting the war. That reward is the problem. The brain is a primitive machine. It doesn't clearly separate knowing from doing. To your nervous system, simulating a confrontation feels dangerously close to having one, so it chooses the path of least resistance. Insight produces relief. Action produces risk, so the mind chooses insight every single time. You feel sharper, more evolved. You look at the people around you, blind, reactive, emotional, and you feel a cold sense of superiority. You are above the crowd. You are the master strategist. But look at your hands. They are empty. Look at your reality. It is stagnant. Your position in the real world remains unchanged. This is the curse of the intelligent. This is why so many brilliant people rot in obscurity while mediocre aggressors run the world. They consume ideas. They analyze dynamics. They understand everything about the game, except how to play it. In nature, awareness without action is fatal. Imagine a gazelle that understands the lion. It knows the lion's hunting patterns. It appreciates the lion's stealth. It analyzes the lion's muscle density. It stands there, frozen in perfect understanding, until its throat is torn out. Seeing the predator doesn't save you. Movement does. Understanding danger doesn't change the outcome. Response does. Yet modern life teaches the opposite. We are raised in schools, not jungles. We are trained to believe that if we have the right answer, we get the gold star. We are trained to believe that understanding automatically leads to results. It doesn't. Reality does not care what you know. Reality only cares what you manifest. Action threatens comfort. Awareness doesn't. Awareness lets you feel superior without paying a price. That is why it is addictive. It is the drug of the coward who fancies himself a king. You can watch content about power for years. You can memorize the 48 laws. You can quote Machiavelli. You can understand every psychological mechanism in the room, gaslighting, triangulation, framing, anchoring, and still be overlooked, and still be disrespected, because status isn't granted to the most aware. It's granted to the most decisive. The world forgives a mistake made in boldness. It rarely forgives the silence of hesitation. There's a darker layer beneath this. Awareness becomes camouflage. You say you're observing. You say you're biding your time. You say you're being strategic. You tell yourself you are a grand master waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But beneath those words is fear. Raw, primal fear. Fear of friction. Fear of consequence. Fear of the noise that happens when you collide with the world. Fear of being exposed. Awareness without action slowly hardens into identity. It becomes a suit of armor that traps you inside. You tell yourself, I'm the one who sees. I understand the game. I'm not like them. And that identity becomes a prison, because acting would force you to risk being wrong. To act is to collapse the wave function. To act is to invite judgment. If you stay in the realm of theory, you are perfect. Your potential is infinite because it has never been tested. But the moment you act, you risk failing publicly. You risk losing the illusion of potential. Most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because action would destroy the story they tell themselves, the story of potential, the story of being different, the story of being one step away. As long as you don't act, you can maintain the fantasy that you could dominate if you wanted to. But you don't want to test that hypothesis. Action removes ambiguity. Once you act, results appear, and results are brutally honest. They reveal weakness, they expose limits, they show where you're unprepared. Awareness lets you hide from that exposure. It is a bunker where you can hide from your own mediocrity. This is why people who talk the most about power rarely have it. They stay in commentary, not execution. They narrate the game instead of entering it. I've seen this pattern endlessly. The internet is full of them. The comment sections are full of them. The observer, the thinker, the one who gets it, always preparing, always refining, always almost ready, never stepping forward. Power doesn't reward insight. It rewards commitment under uncertainty. The willingness to move without guarantees, to act before confidence arrives, to risk embarrassment, to risk being judged by the very people you secretly despise. Awareness asks questions. Action makes statements. There's a point where awareness becomes dangerous. It turns against you. It becomes an autoimmune disease of the soul. When you use it to delay, you analyze tone instead of setting boundaries. Someone disrespects you. Instead of correcting them, you analyze why they did it. You think about their childhood, their insecurities, their tactical play. You understand them perfectly, but you did not stop them. You decode manipulation instead of refusing access. You see the trap, and yet you walk into it because you are too busy admiring the construction of the snare. You understand disrespect instead of ending the interaction, and every delay trains people how to treat you. People don't respond to what you know. They cannot read your mind. They cannot see your brilliant insights. They respond to what you enforce, your absence, your refusal, your decision, your silence. Those are actions. Here's the hidden law. Awareness that doesn't change behavior reinforces weakness, not instantly, gradually, like rust. Because every time you see a line crossed and do nothing, your nervous system learns submission. You are training yourself to be a victim with high-definition vision. You are conditioning your body to freeze when it should fight. This is why some people feel constantly tired. Have you felt that? A deep, heavy exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. That is the weight of unexpressed will. They carry insight without release. They see too much and act too little. That internal tension has a cost. It rots you from the inside. It turns your intelligence into anxiety. Action doesn't require certainty. It requires priority. Choosing discomfort over analysis, movement over clarity, reality over imagination. The moment you act, awareness sharpens because feedback appears. When you sit in your room thinking, you are hallucinating. You are guessing how the world works. But when you push against the world pushes back. People adjust. Dynamics shift. The lie reveals itself. That's where real intelligence forms. Not in the library, but in the field. Not in the theory, but in the scar tissue. Awareness is the map. Action is the terrain. Confusing the two keeps you lost. If you've been watching, understanding, agreeing, nodding along to this video, but not moving, you're not stuck because you don't know. You're stuck because knowledge replaced courage. There is no secret technique I can give you that will make action painless. There is no hack that will remove the fear of consequence. The fear is the price of admission. There's no dramatic breakthrough here, only a decision, a cold, boring, terrifying decision. To stop consuming insight as identity and start using it as fuel. To stop being the one who sees the pattern and start being the one who breaks it. Awareness without action feels safe. Action without certainty feels dangerous. Only one of them changes your position. Only one of them commands respect. Only one of them is real. That's the trap. And now, seeing it isn't enough. Stop explaining. Start moving.